Power sharing. This is the chapter number 1 under politics. Now we will start the lesson. Power means the capacity of a country to make a decision, right? So we will have a very good story to start with. We'll have a Belgium. Coming to the Belgium, this Belgium is a small country. You can see in this map, it is a very small country, okay? That is in Europe. And this is, if you compare to the state of Haryana, this is smaller than Haryana. It shares the borders of the 4 countries like France, Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg. Coming to the population is 1 crore, which is half the population of the Haryana. Let's say Haryana may have around 2 crore population. Okay, this small country, the problem here is ethnic composition. That is quite complex, right? Ethnic composition means a common identity that is based on language and religion. So if you take this total geographical map of our Belgium, it is divided into 2 regions, namely Flemish region, it is Dutch speaking people were living, and nearly 59% of the people were living in this Flemish region, and that is Dutch speaking people. So they are the majority, whereas a 40% are living in the Wallonia region, and they are the French speaking, they are the minority in the Belgium. And remaining 1% German speaking people were there, like in this eastern side, right? So now if you coming to that of Brussels, this is a capital of Belgium, where just reverse. 80% is French speaking people and 20% is Dutch speaking people. Okay. That is, if you take this country as such, the majority here is Dutch, 59%, minority is 40%, that is French speaking people. Okay. The 2 region, Flemish and Wallon region are there, and 1% German speaking people. So out of in this single small country Belgium, 3 language speaking people are there: Dutch, French, and Germany. Okay, right? In this, if you take in a geographical area, Dutch as the majority and French minority. But when you're talking about a capital, French is 80% are occupying in this capital, 20% is Dutch is occupying the capital, right? So this was the geographical area and the population split up in Belgium. Okay, now coming to the next paragraph. The minority French speaking community, they are really very wealthier and they were powerful. Okay, right? As we saw, Dutch is 59 and French is 40%, so French is minority, but even though they are minority, they are very powerful and they are wealthier. So what happens now? This Dutch speaking community, they are getting the benefits like jobs, educations, they are getting the benefit much later. Okay, that is that all the benefits they are not getting it, that they're getting whatever it may be, it is make them resented. Resented means to feel angry, and they feel that it is unfair. Okay, because they are wealthy and they are very powerful, they are getting all the jobs and the educations, whatever the course or whatever, wherever they want to join, they are easily joining. Whereas these Dutch people, since they don't have power, they are not that powerful. Okay, so because of that, they are being like little rejected. So this make them feel unfair. So what happened? This led to the tension, right, between the Dutch speaking and the French speaking. Okay, the tension between this arises during the year 1950 and 1960. The tension between the 2 communities, they were very serious, especially in the capital city Brussels. What happened there? Actually, why there is a biggest problem there or a serious problem there? As we know, there is a special case here, right? because there is a completely reverse. In Brussels, majority are French and minority is a Dutch speaking. Okay, even though the Dutch speaking constitute the majority in the country, but they are the minority in the capital. This also a very important special problem that arises during 1950s and 1960s. So there is a unfair between French and Dutch speaking people in Belgium. Now the same thing we will compare with one more story that happened in Sri Lanka. Okay, so coming to Sri Lanka, let us compare this with another country, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, it is an island nation. Okay, in this island nation, it is a very few kilometers off the southern coast of Tamil Nadu, right? It is very near to the Tamil Nadu and it is in the southern side. And there nearly 2 crore peoples are living, which is same as like that our Haryana state. Okay, unlike a South Asian region, Sri Lankan also, the country also has a diverse population. Diverse in this different like characteristics such as having a different ethnic, socio-economic status, a race. So different economic peoples, so they were living there, right? Okay, the major social groups in Sri Lanka means we can split into 2. One is Sinhala speakers. They were nearly 74%. They are the majority. Okay. Tamil speakers. They were the minority, nearly 18%. Okay. So here in Sri Lanka, we have a 2 split ups, Sinhala and Tamil speakers. Okay. Whereas if you take Belgium, we have 3. What are all? That is Dutch, it is a majority 59, French it is 40 and German is 1%, German speaking. Here Sinhala speakers, they were 74%, Tamil speakers only 18% in Sri Lanka. Okay, in Tamil speakers, among them we have 2 other subgroups. One is called as Sri Lankan Tamils, another one is called as Indian Tamils. Okay. So this is the picture of Sri Lanka, right? This yellow region is 74% of Sinhala people, speaking people, and this is 13%, this area, it is completely of Tamilian, that is Sri Lankan Tamilian people, okay? And we have a 2 split ups, right? One is Sri Lankan Tamil, another one is Indian Tamil, okay? So this is 8 out of 18%, the 13% here has been given to Sri Lankan Tamil. Okay, they were the Sri Lankan Tamil, and this portion is for Indian Tamil. This only for 5% of the people are Indian Tamils. Okay, so now we will see the coming paragraphs in detail. What happened? So we have seen the Indian Tamil. Who are the Indian Tamil? One is Sri Lankan Tamil, we have seen that they are 13%, and the remaining 5% is given to the Indian Tamil, right? So they were the people or the forefathers who have come from India to Sri Lanka. Okay, they were taken by colonial period, British people. During British periods or during colonial period, they have been moved from India to Sri Lanka for plantation work. So they were called as Indian Tamils. They were grouped in the middle. Okay, that is only 5% were living. Okay, so now what happens? There is a big gap between Sinhala speaking people and Tamil, Sri Lankan Tamilians, because Sri Lankan Tamilians, they were the very minority, whereas Sinhala are the majority. Okay, now what happened? The next we will see the religion. What type of religious they were following? Sinhala speaking, mostly they were Buddhist. Okay, mostly they were Buddhist. Whereas coming to the Tamil, they were both Hindus, was mostly Hindus or Muslims. There would be Muslims or Hindus were there. Out of that, 7% Christians were also there in both Tamil as well as Sinhala. So they mixed there. Okay, 7% of Christians, they were in both in Tamil as well as Sinhala. Okay. Now what happens? So we have to take the situation. In Belgium, what happens? The Dutch community. The Dutch community could take the advantage, as we have seen, because they are the majority. Okay, so they can even force or dominate the French and the German speaking because they are the minority. Okay, this may give or proceed with the conflict among the communities further, right? The same thing, this lead, whatever may be the conflict, may lead to the partition of the country. Okay, so both the sides of the control to take the control over the Brussels. Coming to Sri Lanka, Sinhala community enjoyed the bigger majority and they could impose its will. Okay, its will means whatever interest, and that completely make the create the conflict. Now what happens? What we have seen in the last paragraph, right? We have seen Belgium, the majority is Dutch, and Sri Lanka, the majority is Sinhala. Suppose if the majority wants to dominate the minority present in the country, that would leads to the conflict. What happens in both the country? Whether the conflict was there or what else? Let us we'll see. Okay. The first we will see the Sri Lanka. Majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. So what is this word? Majoritarianism means majority class ruling over the minority. This is called as majoritarianism. If you coming to the first paragraph, Sri Lanka follows this particular majoritarianism. Okay, very important thing. Sri Lanka got independent in 1948. Okay, the leaders of the community, Sinhala community, they wanted to dominate and they, because they were the majority and they want to dominate and they want to take the government. Okay, Sinhala leaders. As a result, democratically adopt, that is whatever may be the government formed. Here you have to note, the government formed is after the independence, democratic government only formed. But that democratically formed government that adopted a series of majoritarian measures, right, to establish Sinhala's supremacy. Supremacy means that is they are the powerful, so they want to make the entire country democratically, they want to be supreme. Okay, this is very important thing. After getting the independence 1948, the leaders, they want to ensure that their dominance over the government, right? And they followed or they the measures they are using is majoritarian, because they are telling we are the majority. Sinhala are the majority. So we, whatever may be the thing, so we will be the powerful. Okay. And one more thing, very important point here is two things. One is majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Another one is the democratically elected government. Okay, right. In next, what actually in this paragraph, what they are discussing is, in 1956, an act was passed. This is another important act. Only Sinhala has been an official language. Okay, so now what? Tamil has been treated as an unimportant. Whatever maybe the government followed, the policies, everything. Sinhala is getting the jobs and Sinhala is getting the positions in the university for doing their educations. So now what happens? And their new constitution, okay, to say exactly that the state protect the foster, they want to encourage mostly their own Sinhala religion, that is Buddhism. Okay, so that was the supremacy they have incorporated. What happened now? What is the impact happened now? We will see, right? This was the impact happened. All the government measures one by one coming, right? This increased the alienation. What is this alienation? They thinking that we are not in the part of that group. Sometimes we will think, right? Some measures they are giving, we feel that whether we are inside or we are outside, like that. So this feeling, alienation, make the that started in among the Sri Lankan Tamils. They felt none of the political leaders led by, that is, who are the political leaders? The Sinhala leaders. They were the Buddhist. Okay, they they don't they didn't have their much sensitive to Tamil language and Tamil culture, because they simply in 1956 an act they removed. Okay, they declared official languages only Sinhala. Okay, so this was the impact. So there has been a feeling, okay, among the Sri Lankan Tamilians, the feeling of alienation, right? They felt that they have been very sensitive to the that is Buddhist leader. They didn't show much respect to their language and culture. That was their major problem. So they felt the constitution and the government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminated. Yes, of course, what happened now? Whatever the government and the policies and whatever maybe they have formed, they have not given any equal political rights. This has been discriminated. In what ways? The very important thing, they are getting the jobs or by getting any other opportunities, and their interest is completely ignored. Okay, so this was the impact of the supremacy. So what happens now? Because of this, the relation between the Sinhala community and Tamil community, the problem has been started over time. Okay, this Sri Lankan Tamils, they want to start their own parties because they want to struggle for the recognition. Okay, they want to bring a Tamil as an official language. Okay, they want to bring a power to govern themselves, regional autonomy. They want regional autonomy. They need official language. They need equality opportunity in securing education and job. They are all the struggles they are facing. Okay, and they are the demands they are projecting, but their demands, okay, for more autonomy to provinces. Autonomy to power provinces is nothing but to govern themselves. Their demands, that whatever may be the telling by the Tamilians, they were repeatedly denied by the Sinhalas. Okay, so what was the demand they are giving? They want the Tamil to be the official language. They want their autonomy, regional autonomy. They want separate provinces, and they want equality in opportunities, both in education they need and jobs they need. Okay, so in 1980, several political organizations were formed demanding a independent Tamil Elam in the northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka. So now the problem completely arises in 1980. Okay, they formed several political organizations. They formed, and they need Tamil Elam, the state, a complete state that is in the northern and eastern parts, where the much of the people were lived there. Okay, Tamilian people were lived in the northern eastern states. So they want that Tamil Elam state. That was in 1980. Now the that problem started between the two communities and spread into conflict. Now what happens? This broke into a civil war. Civil war is a very important word. That is war between a group of people in the same country. Okay, so now between a Sinhala and Tamil, Sri Lankan Tamil, the war broke down. Okay, for their demands and then for their respects and then for their opportunities, they have started struggling and they started fighting. As a result, many people have been killed in both the communities. What happened now? Many families, they want to leave the country as refugees. What is a refuge? during the war, okay, if there is, because of the war, if there is no enough food or whatever it may be, a person will be forced to leave the country, okay, as a refugee, and they lost their livelihood. So this civil war is a complete setback, okay, completely setback to the social, cultural, economic life of the Sri Lankan country. This is a setback to that country, and this finally ended in 2009. What is the result? So Sri Lanka, they put the word called majority. Because of this majority, they were started pulling down the minority more and more, and due to that, the Tamil, Sri Lankan Tamil, they fiercely started, and they were fighting for Tamileelam state, and for their demands. Soon this made into a big conflict. Because of that, what and all has been raised? Civil war. Thousands of people have been killed, and many have to leave the country as refuge, and many lost their livelihoods. And what happened to the country? Country was completely set back, terribly set back to the social, cultural, economic life. And finally, this has been come to an end in 2009. Now let us see what happens in Belgium. Accommodation in Belgium. Okay, what is accommodation? Sharing power and managing the diversity. That is called as accommodation. You're sharing power, right? You are accommodating. Finally, okay, let the minority also accommodate with them, but with us. That is accommodation in Belgium. Very important concept. Whereas the people in Sri Lanka, they followed majoritarian, whereas in Belgium they followed accommodation. Accommodation means sharing the power and managing them. Okay, now we will see what happens in Belgium in this paragraph. Okay, the Belgium leaders, they took a different path, completely different, and that is very innovative path they have taken. Okay, the leaders, they recognized, yes, there is a regional differences and cultural are there in our country. Okay, now what we can do is, they were thought of making the constitution. Okay, they were writing, they were making the constitution, and they were changed the constitutions within the same country. That is the amendment from between 1970 and 1993. 4 times they made their amendment. Why actually they want to do? Because they want everybody to get satisfied life within the country. For that, they are making so much of amendments in their constitution between 1970 and 1993. Okay, 4 times they have changed their constitution. They were amended. They made the change in their laws. How nice it is. This arrangement is worked very well, and it is very innovative, and they were calling it as a Belgian model. Okay, now we will see what is that Belgian model. Okay, so it has, Belgian model has 4 important features. That is, it has a 3 government. One is, or first we will see the central government. Second is the state government. Next, it will be the community government. We will see one by one. Okay. Okay. First, a central government. What actually we are seeing now? This is called as a Belgian model. Okay. The Belgian followed a different method, that is called as accommodation in Belgium, and they made a different amendments, and 4 times they have made between 1970 to 1993 in order to enable everyone to live together within the same country. That's a very important point. Okay. Oh, for that, now we have a innovative Belgium model. What it constitutes, now we'll see. Okay. So in this, first is central government. The constitution prescribes. Okay. The constitution, what actually it is telling? Dutch and French ministers, they should be equal in numbers in central government. Very important. If Dutch is this much, the same number of ministers from French speaking also should be there in the central government. So the Dutch and the French speaking ministers, they are equal in the number in the central government. Okay, suppose if any special law, they are passing any special law, and if they want to get approved, okay, if they want to get approved, what happens is the majority of the members have to approve from the each linguistic, from the each language group. That is, majority of the members, that is Dutch speaking and French speaking, they have to approve. All right, no single community can make decision unilaterally. They cannot do dominate. No single community, both French as well as Dutch, they need the majority support for any law that has to come into execution. Okay, there no decision has been taken unilaterally. So this what we are seeing under central government. Okay, coming to the next is state government. Many powers of the central government that has been given to the state government of the two regions. We have seen Belgium of two regions, right? So the powers has been given to the states, okay, of state governments of the two regions. Okay, what it means, the state government need not subordinate, need not always, that what means, it always, all the time, state government no need to be under central government. Okay, need not in subordinate. So maximum power, there are a few powers, whereas there is a communication between central and state government that is necessary. Sometimes the decision that has to be taken from the central government to any changes that has to be done in that particular state, that and all, it is there. Okay, but they are not subordinate to the central government. Okay, that is very important. That is a second government they have made, right? And before seeing to the third, we will see one more important parameter over here. Brussels, they made the Brussels as a separate government. Very interesting, separate government in Brussels, where both the communities, Brussels we have seen French is the majority and Dutch is the minority. Okay, here both of them has given an equal representation in Brussels. The French speaking people who are the majority, 80% were there in Brussels, but they have accepted this. Okay, even though we are 80% in Brussels, we will we'll accept, yeah, whatever may be the constitution in from our side, the same number of members will be coming from Dutch. Why they accepted? Because Dutch has accepted for making the central government, right, for equal representation. The Dutch didn't say, see, we are the majority in the whole country, why we have to give the equal share of ministers to French. They didn't tell like that. Since they have given the equal representation in the central government, similarly the French also, French speaking people also has accepted in giving the equal representation in Brussels. Okay, so what it is, Brussels has a separate government. In that government also, the communities will has a equal representation. Okay, there is no problem between the between Dutch and French. They have been equally participated because accepted. Central government is also equal representation, and in here in Brussels government, separate government, that also having a equal representation. They have accepted it. Next, coming to the community government. What is this community government? Is nothing but it is a third kind of government. This is called community government. It is also elected by the people belonging to one language community, right? That is, if you say, we take an example, French speaking individual, okay, will elect a French speaking individual will elect French speaking individual as their community representative. Okay, so each, again same, Dutch speaking will elect one Dutch speaking representative for them. Similarly German. Okay, why, what for this new small government, why it is called a community government means, This is along their linguistic. So whosoever from French, there will be one individual representative. From Dutch, there will be a representative. Like that, they are choosing and they are forming the government, because this government has the power, okay, regarding if there is any issues regarding cultural, educational or language related issues within the country. So to deal with that, this government has formed. Okay. And one more thing, the whosoever, if they want to elect the French or a representative or German representative to form the community government, they can make wherever they are living with inside the country, no matter where they live inside the country. So they are being elected by the people. Okay. So if you are living in Belgium, anywhere in Belgium, any Dutch can be made a representative, or any French can be made a representative, or any German can be made a representative in order to deal their own issues, like their own language issue, their own cultural issue, their own educational issue. Okay. So that is a very small government, and that government is called as community government. Okay. So we have a three types of government: central government, okay, that is a representation by equal representation; state government, that is also what to say, the government, the power has been, much of the power has been given, and it is not nowhere subordinate to the central government. And next, coming to the community government, this government is elected again by the people. Okay. So this government will be formed by particular language, one language community. Okay. Belonging to one language community, no matter wherever they live inside the country, they can elect a person who can able to form a make a government, so that if there is any issues, he can speak for their like a Dutch, they can speak for if there is any issues. French, they can speak for their any culture or educational or language issue, like that. So this is very important government called community government. So the next thing is this paragraph. This says this model is actually a complicated because of forming a three government, whatever it may be. But this arrangement worked very well so far. This helped. Here there is no civil war between the two communities, no division based on the languages, like what we have seen in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, they followed the majoritarian, because of that they had so many troubles, right? The country itself has been a setback. Now here they don't have any civil wars, they don't have any divisions. So what happened is, another very important point here is, many countries, okay, when many countries of Europe, they form a European Union is nothing but many countries of the European countries, they together come to form a union. Okay. For that, Brussels has been chosen as the headquarters. That is very important thing. Why Brussels has been given a headquarters here is, they understood that this was a very successful united nation, okay, which clearly says that the whatever may be the complications or the problems that have handled very smoothly, and there is no, even though there is a different linguistic regions are there is no conflict, and everything was very smooth. So they have been chosen as the headquarters for the European Union. This is a very interesting and important point to deal, right? So what we understand from the two stories, Belgium and Sri Lanka stories, one very important, both are democracies, right? Sri Lanka also elected, and here also Belgium is also, both are democratic country, but the power sharing is different. In Belgium, they realized that unity and the respect of the feeling of the different communities and the religion, that can be obtained only with the help of unification. Okay. So they are respecting the feelings, and they are giving a much respect to the communities and regions. So such realization was actually mutually acceptable between the majority and the minority, that is Dutch and French, for sharing the power. Okay, everything worked very well. But in Sri Lanka, this has been completely contrast. It was been like majority wants to dominate and they don't want to refuse the share power. Because of that undermine the unity of the country. Because of that, it faced so many troubles like civil wars. Next very important thing is topic is why power sharing is desirable, right? Why power sharing is important? Absolutely, power sharing is important. That's what we have seen in the Belgium example. Okay, right here. Why it is? For that they have given a two reason. The reason can be prudential reason or it can be a moral reason. Okay, so first we will see what type of prudential reason, and then what is the moral reason. Okay, what is prudential reason? Prudential is, you can see here, prudential is that is careful and avoiding some risk. Okay, that is prudential. And then we will see the moral. Power sharing is very important and it is desirable. Okay, and there is a two sets of reason. One reason is prudential, another one is moral reason. Okay, first we will see what are all the reasons. It will be under prudential. Prudential means to avoid risk. Okay, first, why there is a power sharing should be done? For prudential reason, that is to avoid risk. What risk? Yes, conflict. Conflict between the social group is avoided, right? It helps to reduce or it helps to avoid. Second is when there is no conflict. Okay, what happens? There is, it ensures the stability of the political order. Okay, third is the majority community. What happens? It will be very nice. This actually what Sri Lanka followed. It is a disadvantage that what happens here? First it will be attractive in a short run, but this cannot able to go for a long run in making the unity of the nation. Okay, and then tyranny of the majority is not just, you can see here, the tyranny. What is tyranny? Means unfair use of power. Is not just an oppressive is nothing but controlling for the minority, is often affects the majority. Okay, so this, what this line tells us, majorities, no, if you're taking a majority power, they will oppose or that will oppress the minority, but in future, in long term, that will affect the complete majority itself. That's what they are telling in this line. Okay, so coming to the second is moral reason. The second deeper reason why power sharing is good for democracy is very spirit of democracy. Okay, power sharing is a very spirit. What is very spirit? Liveliness of a democracy. Okay, that is also very important. Liveliness of a democracy. A power with those affected, that is by the exercise, who have to live with its effects. That is what it means. The people, the voice of citizen is very important. That was the line tells you. Okay, so if you, whenever if you are not talking, or if the group of people, if they are affected by the policies that has been implemented by the government, if you are not giving a voice against it, then we have to live with that effect only. Okay, so that's what here, what actually they are telling us. Mainly they were telling in the moral reason. What they were telling is, we have to make, or we have to voice of the citizen is very important. Okay, people have the right to be consulted on how they are to be governed. Democracy means that only. Okay, so it is completely of democracy. And the next is, if it is a true government, what actually they are telling is, participation of citizen is very important to acquire stack in the system. Stack means to be part of the government. So citizens are not only going for an election and putting a vote, that only it is not. It, you have to participate. What type of participation? For example, they have to engage in public meetings and they have to engage in debates and they can express their concerns and demands. Okay, if they want to change anything or the policies, they can change by giving their commands and their concerns. Okay, what happened means this makes they were being the part of the government instead of simply not opening their mouth. They have to come up. That's what they were telling in the second thing. What actually we are seeing power sharing, why it is desirable, that is for two reasons. One is a prudential, that is to avoid a risk, that what we have seen, that is in this previous paragraph, mainly the conflict between the social groups. If that helps to reduce the conflict, that brings you the political order stability. And this is a very important thing in power sharing. Coming to the moral reasons is democracy. Okay, power sharing is good for democracy. Power sharing in what actually, suppose if the voice of the citizens, I can share my views, so that I'm sharing the power in the system. That's what this paragraph is emphasizing it. Okay, that is, it is telling that the citizen has to participate in the government. They have to acquire a stake in the system. How it can be done? If any policies that affects them, okay, the group of people, which has been any farmer or any businessman, the policies which affects them, definitely they have to come, they have to talk, and they have to make a debate, and they have to be with the government to change this policies. Forms of power sharing. So what is this power sharing? The idea has been emerged, that is to the opposition notation of the undivided political power. What is that undivided political power? In the long time, okay, if of a government or a group of a person, so they will be group located at one place. They thought that previously, if they want to make any decision, or if they want to to enforce them, if the powers are dispersed, that cannot be done easily. That was the thinking in the olden, longer back time. But now, once the emergence of the democracy comes, the political power will be shared completely by the people, because it is a democracy formed by the people, right? So it is a self government, and it all completely, the views and the respects everyone in shaping the democracy, and by giving the public opinions, this all, the power has been completely distributed among the many citizens as much as possible. Okay, now we will see the four important power that is shared. Okay, well, first we will see, so the power is shared among the organs of a government, right? So this is a very important thing. Indian government, like here you have a different organs, which is legislature, executive and judiciary. If this is called as a horizontal distribution of the power, okay, because they all are placed at the same level to exercise the different powers. Very important. Okay, they are all placed at the same level, but the powers, whatever may be the powers to exercise different powers, why they are all same level? Let us now check. Okay, so such a separation ensures the organ can exercise unlimited power. So this is called as organ check. Each organ checks the other. This results in a balance of powers among the various institutions. What is all those things? Now we will see the meaning for this. In previous year, we have studied the democracy. There we can understand clearly the ministers and the government officials. Okay, so they will be having they will exercise complete power, and they will be the responsible for the parliament and the state assemblies. Okay, but the judges, who are all appointed by these executives, they can check the functioning of the executives. okay, or the laws made by the legislatures. So this is called as check balance arrangement. So by this, what happened by this checking the balance arrangement? This makes the each organ checking each other. Okay, for this is called as horizontal power distribution, right? So legislature, executive, judiciary will falls under this category. They will be under the same level. Okay, for example, if executives appoints the judiciary people, but judiciary, they have the complete deals with the power of the different legislative organs of the government. So coming to the previous point, once again, I'll recall. Here we are seeing the power is shared among the different organs of the government. Actually, what we are seeing, that we are seeing under forms of power sharing. What are all the forms of power sharing? The first is the power is shared among the organs of a government. In India, how the powers are distributed between the legislature, executive, judiciary. Okay. So executives appoints the judiciary, and judiciary has the every rights to ask questions to the executive about their functioning, as well as to the legislature regarding the laws made by the legislatures, right? So this arrangement is very much called as check and balance. So next is power shared among the governments at different levels. So this is we have a very important thing in this paragraph. What actually it tells us, we will see like this. So in Indian government, the power is distributed such a way. It is the central government followed with the state government, then local or self government. That is, the power is given to panchayat and municipality, right? So here you can see here the principle has been extended. From here you can see that is the power from the central government to the state government, and the state government to the municipality and the panchayat. So the higher level to the lower level of the power has been shared. So this way is called as vertical division of power. So next is called as this is called as vertical division of power, right? So this is power shared at different levels. This is the second forms of power sharing. So the next is third is power shared among the different social groups. So what is the different social groups is like including, for example, religious and linguistic groups, where we have seen a community government formation in Belgium. Okay, in such a way, the power has been shared to the social groups like weaker sections, for example, SC, ST, OBC, elder people and women. They have been given a power in their legislature as well as in the administration. In the previous year, we have studied the reserved constituencies. Okay, reserved constituencies in assemblies and parliament of our country. Okay, what it tells us, this type of government, it is giving a space for the administration of social groups, different social groups, right, where this may minority to share their power. Okay, so this helps the minority communities to feel free that they are sharing their power in the government. So this is a third forms of power sharing. So first is we have seen the horizontal power sharing, second is vertical power sharing, third is the power sharing is done among the different social groups, right? Different social groups means it may be based on a religious or maybe a linguistic, that is social weaker section. For them we are giving a representations in the assemblies. Women has been given in the legislature as administrative and reserved constituencies, where actually the minority communities, they can share their power, fair way to express or to share their power. The last one is power sharing arrangements also between political parties, pressure groups and movements. Again, what it is political parties is like a single party cannot be stay for a long, or the competition cannot be done in one hand. For a longer run, the political parties has to be have to represent a different ideological and social groups. So they need a sharing. If they cannot form a direct alliance, if they cannot come with a direct thing, then they will be forming a two or more parties combined together to form a alliance to contest the elections, right? So in such a way, the government formed is called as coalition government. Okay, so this it is called as political party now shares their power, right? Coalition government. So two or more parties, they are forming a government, so that way they are sharing their powers. As well as, what is that pressure group? Pressure group is nothing but a group of people who force to influence or to change the government policies by protecting or demonstrating, those particular groups. Usually they will be on maximum they are the political parties or pressure groups. Okay, what it is? Movements means, again, whatever may be the given by the current government. If the policies or whatever maybe it is not acceptable, then they will raise the flag, they will make a rally, and they will conduct meetings to draw attention of media and government. They will organize strike to stop the government functioning of the government. That is official meeting. Then they will be called that particular groups to for a meeting, and sometimes government will will take the advice from them. They will also participate in the government. That's what, by these movements, they are all participating in the power sharing, right? Political parties, pressure groups, and movements, some or the other, by giving a pressure or by controlling or by influencing the who are all the powers, who are all in the power. So they are influencing by their protestings, right? So the or other we can talk called other group called as interest group. Okay, who share a common interest, like traders, businessmen, industrialists, farmers, industrial workers. They will all come under this group. If any policy has been given by the government was not happy, then the same common interest people together will unite, and together will ask the government to change, or will fight, will make a rally against the government. Okay, so now that way they are participating in the governmental organization. That way they are bringing the influence in taking the decision making. Okay, so this type of movement, they are called as pressure groups and movements. Okay, so this is the last point, forms of power sharing. Okay, this has been in the way by political parties, pressure groups, and movements. Thank you.